Hi and welcome to Armchair Pundits. This is episode 2 of our podcast, and today we have Yao.
What's up?
We have Leon.
What's up?
And of course we have myself, James. A fantastic weekend, football wise. We had the Liga going to the final day with Real Madrid losing, Barca drawing, Atletico drawing. We had my beloved Liverpool winning against a 9-man Newcastle, but it not mattering in the end because Man City won the league with their slippers on against West Ham. Thanks, Andy Carroll. Other news: England squad has been announced. We've got little things like Sturridge apologising to Liverpool fans for not winning the league. Suarez sending out cryptic messages. Is he staying? Is he going? What's he actually going to do? Who knows? So not too happy. We've had a lot of people saying Suarez is definitely leaving, and I was backing Suarez until I read that message, which I'll read out to you guys at some stage. And yeah, Man United getting Van Gaal, or are they? Who knows? So we'll move on, and we'll just discuss first of all how this season ended in England, and your opinions, yeah, on 1, what kind of season was it? 2, is it the best season in Premier League history, or the most exciting season in Premier League history? And 3, just maybe a couple of minutes on your own team. Tottenham, obviously you're not going to be happy how they played, but what do you think the future is for Tottenham?
Let's start off with the Premier League. I'll be honest with you, it was exciting. Yeah, there was definitely many highlights to be happy about during this season, but in terms of the most exciting league, no. I still think the year that Man City won it the first time was quite astonishing. Final day, final second, final minute, literally switching over the TV to see them scoring.
But does that make it a fantastic season? It was a fantastic finale, but I'm asking you, I think this season from start to finish.
No, I think for that season, start to finish, I found it. That's my personal preference. I found it very exciting from start to finish. This season has been entertaining, but very frustrating, and I'm talking about across the board, like up and down. Teams that shouldn't be in trouble were in trouble. Teams that should have held on to the managers never did. Teams that shouldn't even be losing consecutive games for long times during the whole season were. So I mean, that's what you get sometimes in the Premier League. I mean, it's a very competitive league, but at the same time, you just have to be able to adapt to that. But this season has brought goals. That's one thing I definitely will agree with. It's brought goals, and it's brought some serious beatings, some serious, humbling.
You got your Tottenham hat on now? It sounds like it.
Because obviously I'm moving on to my team, Tottenham. This season has just been an absolute... I look at the table and I see that we're 6th. That doesn't sound too bad. It doesn't. But I'm extremely disappointed. Because for the last 4 seasons, maximum, 4th or 5th is where we've been. Mm-hmm. And now we're outside the top 5. And, it's all good and well. At some point in the future, I can turn around to my kids and say, I've seen Spurs finish above Man United. You wouldn't believe how many years that took us to get there. But to see where Man United are, it's a bloody joke. So, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of Spurs, I've always said that they shouldn't have got rid of AVB. I felt that was a bit of a rash decision and a bit too early. Tim Sherwood should have never been appointed as manager, and I don't care what any Spurs fan has to say on that matter. And at the same point, I can't wait for the summer to just come through and see what happens really.
Leon?
I think this season has been very unpredictable, and I think that pretty much sums it up for everyone. No one could say has had, apart from Liverpool, has gone, really, really far beyond their expectations. Everton played really, really good football. Well, they done really, really well, but Southampton finished mid-table last season as well. So, in a sense of the football they played, they have progressed in the style of football they played because Pochettino's had a lot more time. But I think, by and large, there can be a lot of disappointment. Crystal Palace finished a lot higher than they would have expected. considering where they started from. But the season has been very unpredictable. We've seen teams get battered, and I'm not just talking about Tottenham. I'm talking about Arsenal against Liverpool, Arsenal against Man City, Man City against Man U,
Arsenal against Chelsea.
There you go. So games that have been very, very one-sided, which have the really big games. There wasn't that many tight affairs. Man City versus Liverpool was probably the most exciting series of games across the season between the big teams. As for the small teams, it was another one of those seasons where, for pretty much the entirety of the season, anyone below top 11 had a chance of going down. And it's only right at the end where you saw the quality of the likes of Bonnie for Swansea, West Ham having Carroll back, getting a few goals, Connor Wickham for Sunderland, and then Crystal Palace just on a whole, just as a team, being very, very difficult to break down, and in the end having one of the better defensive records in the league. So for me, it's been a very unpredictable season, an entertaining one, but I wouldn't say it's the best season, by no means. But no, it was a good season, and I think it was a good advert for the Premier League that anyone can get it. Anyone.
But for me, the reason why I think it was one of the best, if not the best, I think one of our friends labelled it the season of pain. Because everyone suffered this season. There isn't a team out there that didn't suffer at some point. You have Cardiff, who were doing really well at the start of the season, and then Malcolm Mackay, and then Vincent Tan decided to do a madness and get rid of him, and then they ended up getting relegated purely because of Vincent Tan, in my opinion. You had Fulham, who were doing okay, but then went through a crazy period, sacked one manager, sacked another manager, got rid of the Michael Jackson statue, which the previous owner, Al Fayed, said that would get you relegated if you do it, and it came to pass. There's a curse on that. You have Liverpool, who couldn't hold a lead. They would destroy teams first half, second half, they would lose the second half and end up 2-2, then come back miraculously and win 4-3. You had Man United, who, for those who used to listen to us on radio, I predicted that when Fergie left, that they would not get to Europe. They would probably be out of Champions League, and they would be disastrous. I got laughed at the studio at times. I got told that's not going to happen. They'll still make Champions League, but they won't challenge for the title. It came to pass. You have Chelsea. What, is Mourinho happy? It's 2 seasons in a row now where he's finished empty-handed. Can't think of the last time that happened to him. Swansea, meet you going down, them having to rebuild. So you've had stories everywhere. Final day went down to last week for relegation, for 4th place. No, for Europa League went down to last day. You had the Premier League title that went down to the last week. I can't think of another time where that's happened, where there's been so many things that have ended towards the end of the season. That's why I think it's been probably the most exciting, because you didn't know what to turn. So that's what I mean by it.
No, that's interesting. That's definitely an interesting take on it. Well, I definitely agree with Leo. I found it to be more entertaining and more humbling in a way that certain teams just would end their week with a severe beating, the kind of beating that you don't expect young children to take.
But you look at it this way, transfers. So the interesting transfers, Mata, was it in the end? Like, we knew it wasn't going to be a case where he was going to turn around on his own. But was the Mata transfer a good transfer in the end for Manchester United?
It will be. I think you can already see by some of his performances how the difference he can make, provided the team are built to use his strengths. If you give him the freedom to go and play, he can create, he can score goals, he can bring other people into the game. And for me, I think with the right manager and the right players around him, I think Mata will end up being a really good signing. I think we saw that with Chelsea last year, and the season before that, even his first season, it was impressive. Mata has Premiership quality. He's been here now 3 years, and he's gone to a new team. There's going to be a new manager. I think he'll come good. I don't think he's been a failed signing.
Yeah,
I definitely agree on that view that Leon has just brought to the table. In all honesty, I didn't want Matt to go to Man United. Like, you might not see the benefits of him being there this season, obviously due to where they finished in the league. But I'm telling you, that guy is a consistent problem. Never liked it when I saw him in the starting lineup for Chelsea. I'm not going to like it when I see him in the starting lineup for Man United. I would happily take him at my club because he's one of those players that if he wants to change the game will be changed.
But where will he fit next year? Because if Van Gaal's coming, we know Van Persie's going to start. Rooney is an icon of Manchester United.
But Rooney can play midfield.
But how deep in midfield? Are you going to put Rooney into... Because Mata has to play number 10, realistically.
Yeah, but
go to number 10. So that means you're putting Rooney left or right, or even deeper. Rooney doesn't want to play deeper.
I actually don't think you have to play Mata in the centre.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he doesn't function better in the centre by any means. But if you saw at Chelsea in his first and second season, he actually did not have a specific...
To make him a free role.
Yeah. But he had a free role anyway. Sometimes he played on the left, sometimes he played on the right, sometimes he played through the middle. In different games, they used him differently.
But where would you put Rooney then? Because all three of them need to start, realistically.
But why can't you have them all floating and make that decision during the game? One of them, or two of them out of the three, you'd have to say, make sure you do your defensive duties. But top players, you can't get away with just having someone that doesn't track back anymore.
Exactly.
Like, that's just not an option. When you see Messi, you see
Ronaldo
that does that.
Isn't that the reason why Mata got turfed?
No.
That's the reason why Mourinho didn't like him. That's the reason Mourinho said he didn't like him. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that was a problem for every other manager. What Mourinho wants is different to what necessarily other manager wants. You saw what happened with Eden Hazard. He criticised the fact that he was the only person given license, and immediately Mourinho's response, he should have had back for his goal when he was the one that made the mistake by letting the right back get there. That's immediately Mourinho's response. Not, he shouldn't talk to blah blah blah, but he immediately refers to the defensive side of it. And for another manager, Matta's work might not be as much of a problem, but for Mourinho, he wants everyone to muck, the same as John Terry, the same as Ivanovic. He doesn't want anyone to feel that they're any different. So really, just because Mourinho didn't like what Matta did to go and track him back, and whether he, as a player, he will need to look at his own faults and make sure that he steps up his game, and that includes tracking back.
True, very true. So we'll move on. Suarez. So I mentioned, is Suarez staying or Suarez going? I've had so many debates for the last 2 weeks. Liverpool, this is going to be your only chance to win the league. Suarez is going to be gone next season, and I was quite confident that he wouldn't. Players do this all the time. But he came out, he said, I'm happy here, I've got no reason to go anywhere, I'm going to be here next season. But then all of a sudden, yesterday, this comes out. From Suarez, I've been told, comments on Twitter. Hello everyone. First of all, I wanted to thank all the fans for supporting me this year, especially the Red fans. We did everything we could to our last game, but the important thing this year was that Liverpool came back into the Champions League. Me and my family want to thank you for living unique moments this year. The work done by my teammates and the entire staff of Liverpool has been incredible, and I hope everyone enjoyed this year. Thanks again, you'll never walk alone. To me, as a Liverpool fan, I was worried when I read that, because I was waiting for the bit, and I can't wait for next season. Or next season we'll win the league, or we'll be better. There was no mention of next season. So reading that or looking into that, do you view that as in him saying goodbye?
I'll tell you this right now, as a Spurs fan, I've seen it all too many times.
In terms of who?
Modric,
Every big
Bale,
player that's left.
every single big player that's left has always left that the ending of their sentence open to discussion. I remember I stood there in the studio with you guys and I heavily said, Bale is going nowhere. And on the final days, he went. I was hurt, distraught, okay? Modric, I was a little bit more convinced that Modric wouldn't go the first season.
Yeah.
And I did stand by that, and I was correct in that. But I knew that come the second season, he was gone. There was no, stopping that. But with these players, they could sign a contract the year before or even in January. Bale signed a contract before the same year he left. The same year he left. I don't trust no player nowadays. Even Steven Gerrard, to be honest with you, not trying to throw out any insults or anything like that, but he almost left. Let's be honest out here. He almost left. There is no loyalty in football nowadays. Giggs, fine. You want to say Giggs, he stayed. But when Giggs was getting towards the end of his career,
Giggs staying, Giggs was winning. So why did
exactly. So, and to be honest with you, towards the end of his career, no one's gonna buy or shell out millions for a 36-year-old Giggs.
Fair enough, Leon.
How is this any different to Adam Lallana saying almost exactly the same thing that Suarez just said the other day? Liverpool are apparently interested in getting him. So as much as Liverpool fans will be happy that they're getting Lallana, Southampton fans will be just as unhappy at hearing that same kind of statement.
No, but this is different. What Lallana's actually said is, I want to play... Well, this, obviously Suarez said that before. Suarez last season said, I want to play in the Champions League. I want to win things. And he wanted to challenge for titles. He wanted to play in the Champions League. He challenged for a title this season. He could, if he stays at Liverpool, he plays the Champions League this season. The difference with Lallana, he's not at that stage. He said everyone wants to move up in their career. So that's where it's different.
But Suarez wants to move up to Real Madrid.
The thing is, everyone will call me crazy. But my whole thing with this whole Suarez and Real Madrid thing is the fact that Suarez is very greedy. Fair enough, it's not, I'm not saying that that's the reason why he won't go there. But Suarez wants to be centre of attention. Suarez will want the ball every second. You see when he's at Liverpool, if someone takes a shot and they miss, and Suarez had a defender on him and he doesn't get the ball, he's screaming at that person.
I've also seen the same type of players go to a big club and realise, okay, I'm not playing with any guys anymore.
So do you think he can humble himself?
He will be humbled.
What does he have to do for you?
Humbled.
He still shouts and screams because he's the main guy.
At the moment, he wasn't the main guy when he first came out, though.
Yeah, but that's the difference. When he first came out, he wasn't this Suarez. He wasn't the Suarez who just scored 31 goals in the Premier League. He wasn't the Suarez who has a team built around him.
That's true.
At this level.
But
at Uruguay, he obviously was a legend in Forlan for them. Obviously, he's not a world legend, but for Uruguay, he was that guy, and he couldn't really argue it. But he has no option. Either you play for Uruguay or you don't. Here he has an option. He doesn't have to go to Real Madrid.
Doesn't. But if he wants to go to Real Madrid, then he's telling himself. He has to tell himself. Ronaldo is the guy.
Ronaldo is the boss.
No one else. Ronaldo. It's Bale as well, because Bale is the number 2 guy there.
Bale was humbled.
He's humbled. But the point is, he's third in line, because then you have Ronaldo ahead of him, then you have Bale ahead of him, who's not going to scream and shout at him, but you still have Bale ahead of him. Is he ready to sacrifice himself for that?
If he wants success, yes.
Can you not get success at Liverpool?
That's questionable.
But it's questionable with Real Madrid, for instance.
You're more likely to gain trophies with Real Madrid. I'm not saying that you can't gain trophies at Liverpool.
I'll ask you a question. In the last 3-4 years, Liverpool won trophy.
I mean?
One trophy. The last 3-4 years. The one that Capital One Cup.
Okay.
Real Madrid have only won 3. If that.
That's still only 2 more.
No, but the point I'm making is you're saying it's guaranteed. Like it's guaranteed. It's not that guaranteed. Because we don't know what's going to happen in terms of Barcelona. Barcelona are going to get revamped next season because of the. You say you pull it. They can't see you, but Yao is pulling the face.
I'm not saying they can't get revamped. I'm just saying that in terms of Barcelona, the revamping, I can't really see how much revamping is going to be done over there. They're going to get a new goalkeeper.
Yeah, a new goalkeeper, new centre backs.
Who's the new centre backs?
They already talked of the whole. From what I've heard, there's talks of the whole triangle. Barcelona by David Luiz, which gives Chelsea the money to go and buy to buy Costa. And then Chelsea say to Atletico Madrid, you can keep Courtois for another season. I'm gonna be funny. David Luiz, as much as they don't like him in England, he's a very good centre back in European football. He will go there and improve Barcelona. They're looking at Aga as well. Aga may have not had a great season in the Premier League, but it's not physical. Aga's problem is the physicality of the Premier League. You have Aga, you have PK, and you have David Luiz as your 3 and young Bartra. That's 4 good centre backs.
That's if they get it.
That's if, but you're forgetting, there's an embargo. They have no choice. They have to buy at least 2 centre backs this summer. They have no choice.
Well, we don't know who they're going to
They don't know who they're going to get, but they're going to be quality. Because they can't go and buy waste guys.
Why would you say that?
Why would you? What's the point? What's the point of them going and buy poor players? How's that going to improve you?
But they
you have to buy
bought a couple of good defenders in the past.
Who?
And they haven't. Dimitri Trubisky. You remember him? 16 million.
They've learned their mistake. They've learned their mistake.
I hope so.
That's the only one. Milito did okay. He's had bad injuries.
Yeah.
Trubisky was a hype. They're gonna study because it's for long term. But I guess we'll have more to talk about that later.
He ain't gone nowhere yet. He just wrote a tweet, man. He hasn't had time to analyse the season yet.
I think he's still heartbroken from
yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, if Real Madrid are saying to his agent, look, we could sort something out for you,
80 million.
He's not gonna be stupid enough to go, let's just see how things go. Let's make sure we do it again next season. He's not gonna be that dumb for you guys to then go, you're a traitor. You said you were staying. So there's no point. You might as well just be diplomatic and go, thanks for the support, blah blah. You have supported him after the shenanigans that he's been doing with biting people and all that madness.
Now he's ready to leave.
Now he's
well, he's paid us back now.
He's paid you back, man. He's getting you Champions League.
Let's be honest.
That's what he's done.
31 goals is a very big payback. All right. We all saw it with Vampy when he left Arsenal. We all saw it, and we all predicted he was gone. We all stood in the studio and said he was gone. There was none of us thinking he was going to stay after the season he had just had, especially with the clubs that were sniffing around him at that point. It's just unfortunate for Arsenal fans that when he left, he went up north.
Fair enough. Well, we'll finish off this show with the La Liga. We're not going to do a huge segment because there's still more to come. But, like I said earlier, Real Madrid, for some reason, decided to display quite a really weakened team, and they got dealt with by Celta Vigo. But then you had Atletico Madrid losing at one point, and Barca not being able to score away to Elche. It comes to this now. Winner takes it all. Technically, on Sunday, Barcelona at Nou Camp versus Atletico Madrid. Barca need to win. Atletico need a draw. For me, Barca can do it. They're at home. I know they drew with Elche, but they're at home, and they know they have to win. I think they can pull it out of the bag. Messi knows that he needs to perform now. This is his last chance in the season that he has to show he's the top dog, because Ronaldo's been pulling up all the trees and being close to the best in the world right now. This is his chance to prove it. Your opinion? Can Barca will obviously they can. Will Barca win, or will Atletico Madrid be able to hold them off?
I'll be able to see it. I think this entire season, Atletico had Barcelona and Real Madrid's number. They by far being the better team in the league. They deserve the league. The problem is,
don't always get what you deserve.
You don't always get what you deserve, as we found out with Liverpool. Because in my eyes, they technically deserve the league as well. But you don't always get what you deserve. However, what I will say is this: home or away against Barcelona this season, Atletico have got the job done, and I generally don't believe that Barcelona, with all their problems that they've had this season, have enough in their tank to literally change that. It'll probably be a draw, if I'm being honest.
Leon?
Unfortunately, being a Barcelona follower, I have to agree. I think Atletico have had the big two in Spain's number all season, and without trying to sound like one of those normal pundits here on TV and say exactly the same thing you just heard already, I strongly believe that Barcelona don't have it in their locker to break down like this Atletico Madrid defence. At the moment, the way they've played, the style of play this season has not been conducive to breaking down really defensive teams that sit back and wait to counter attack. Their build-up's way too slow. It makes it very easy for the team to get set up with their 2 backs and 4 and say break us down. They haven't set it up quick enough.
The problem I've seen with it, every time they've drawn these games, he's picked slightly weaker teams. He's dropped Xavi, and they've ended up drawing. He tried to bring him on to salvage it, but he's dropped Xavi. He'll drop Pedro, and for me, they're two of the keys players they have. Because Xavi is the creator, he's the orchestrator, and Pedro is the one that gets behind better than anyone else.
But who have they been replaced by? Neymar and Cesc Fabregas, who actually has been the second best performer for Barcelona this season.
With Fabregas?
Yes.
He's a
He's been the second best
Easily.
performer. He gets a lot of stick,
Yeah.
and I've even given him stick because I don't think he's fitted into this system.
But should he be there instead of Xavi?
You can't play
Okay.
Xavi all the time. He's
No,
old
but
now.
the point I'm making is you can't play all the time. Agree. But my point is, I think Xavi will play. I think Pedro will play, which is why I believe that they can play this game. They can win it because I think even in the Champions League, he didn't play Pedro.
Pedro ahead of Neymar. His
Neymar's
Neymar's
injured
injured.
anyway.
Neymar's injured.
But they've been playing that front three for the last 3 weeks, and they've struggled to score. They've struggled to score with the same front three for 3 weeks, and they haven't had. The cohesion hasn't been there.
Let's just
and
be
that's
honest.
strange because that's actually the formation, but that's actually the three strikers they've had at the
previous
club
years.
for the longest time. It's only Neymar that came in and kind
Exactly.
of
The third one
jolted
being Sanchez. Sorry,
Yeah.
the third of
Yeah,
three being
yeah.
Sanchez.
But let's be honest. They are very lucky to be in this predicament.
Of course they are.
Extremely
They
lucky.
threw it away twice and it's like a boomerang. Just came straight back.
They threw it away and then Real Madrid just handed it on a plate. So
Okay, so looking back on that then, Ancelotti, how do you what's the word? Encase his season. It's coming to the end. He said himself, they lose the Champions League, it's a mediocre season. If they win the Champions League, then it's been a great season.
being
They
a
want the decimal, the number 10.
being a Real Madrid man, and seeing what, or how should I say, the president reacts to certain managers. I'll be honest with you. The league's out of his hands, and that's his own fault. That's the team's fault, not just his fault, but the team's fault in general. But in terms of the Champions League, if he does not win it, I have a feeling he might get sacked. And it won't be the first time that I've seen this happen at Real Madrid.
Obviously, no.
So, and I'm not saying it's a mediocre season. He's won a title. He beat our fiercest rivals. But this president is very much like Daniel Levy. You just don't know what you're going to get.
I think Zidane holds a lot of sway. Although there is rumour that Zidane might be going to Juve, but we'll come across that on a completely different day. But I think Zidane holds a lot of sway in the club. And I think Zidane, they'll try and do it for the next season.
I actually think they'll keep Ancelotti.
Yeah.
You've seen Real Madrid's argument was that they weren't playing the football that they wanted to play, and that's why they got rid of Mourinho. For me, I think Real Madrid have to realise that you have to have continuity, and Ancelotti's been very successful at most of the clubs he's been at, apart from Juventus, ironically. However, the problem about Real Madrid is that they expect the expectancy level. They've been expecting to win the Champions League for 12 years and it's not happened. So what have they consistently done every time? They've always got rid of their managers. They actually don't need to have some cohesion, just settle. Carlo Ancelotti will get it right, and for me, they've got all of the right tools there to go and win the Champions League. I think it's more mentality than anything else that's stopping them. In the big games, you can't stop.
Okay. Well, this has been Armchair Pundits. Discussed Premier League, discussed the Liga. The Liga will come to the end on Sunday, so we'll touch base and see who actually wins it. I'm hoping it's Barca. Obviously being a Barca follower. But I'd like to thank you guys once again for listening to Armchair Pundits. Make sure you tune in because we're going to be having shows every week. Tune in and enjoy it. If you watch this, send it to someone else. Let their circle of followers become bigger. Thank you, Yao.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, fans.